Good morning. Good morning. Happy Tuesday. And welcome to Write With Me. And these are our daily sessions, Monday through Friday. Though yesterday had an internet outage. I got an email. I guess the email came through from Spectrum at 1:30 in the morning saying that there was an internet outage in my area and that the internet was going to be back up by 5:30. But, sometimes those things happen a little, resolve earlier, but no, they didn't. And so I was able to, hopefully, everyone that tried to join in saw my post and, and realized that I wasn't going to be able to be on. But the internet came back. They ended up then sending another email saying that it was going to not be back up until 10:30, but then it came up at 9:30. So yeah. So here I am. We're doing two 25-minute sprints, a 5 to 10 minute break in between. And I'm just going to get going. I'm continuing my research, Peter Crosby, for the novel series that I am writing. And I am still in the testimonies, the congressional hearings that happened after the Vicksburg massacre occurred. And so now I am going through Dr. Hunt's, or about to start Dr. Hunt's testimony. And he, as I know, was one of three men that were riding around on horseback, threatening Black people to get off the street. But Dr. Shannon was the one that was actually, as far as I know, was threatening to saying that he was going to kill whoever was that didn't get off the street. So Dr. Hunt, who I'm just now seeing, is a surgeon, a physician and a surgeon, and he was part of this party, riding around, threatening Black people's lives. So, all right, let's get going. that note. All right. Welcome to those that joined in. Drop in the chat what you're working on. This is our little break in between. I normally do 5 to 10 minutes of these, a break of these little writing sessions. So there's two 25-minute sprints and then a 5 to 10 minute break. And your opportunity to ask me any questions about writing or tell me what you're working on. I'm working on my research for Peter Crosby. He was a sheriff, and also you can find a bio I wrote about him in my description. I was asked to be a contributor to enslaved.org, which is ran by Harriet Lewis Gates Jr. and a number of other people from Harvard. Because Peter Crosby, the person that asked me to be a contributor to them, to their website, hadn't heard anything about Peter Crosby. And for those that don't know, Peter Crosby was formerly enslaved, and he was elected sheriff in Vicksburg, Mississippi in 1873. In 1874, he was forced to resign by a mob of 600 people. These people were considered the Taxpayers League, and they were white liners, white supremacists. And so when Peter was forced from office, he went to the Governor Ames, and Governor Ames said, you were rightfully elected. You need to go back to Vicksburg and reclaim your seat. And so he put out an announcement in a handbill, which is basically an announcement in the newspapers stating that, hey, all white and Black Republicans, please come support me to get back into office. Well, when he did that, many of the white supremacists in that area was not feeling it. And so on that Monday, December 7th, in 1874, when the Black people were coming into town to help support Peter getting back in office, they were met by white men on horseback that were armed, and a massacre happened. So the testimony that I'm going through now is a congressional hearing that was held some weeks after the massacre. And that's really the final step of my research for before I start outlining my novel series. And it's about like over 500 pages long in small print. So I've just got to get through all the testimonies and just to see who were all in play. Many people lost their lives. Many people that are testifying were there during the time that when the massacre happened. Some were widows, and some were the perpetrators of the massacre, actually. And so that's been really interesting seeing it all unfold and so forth. And I don't really see any of my regular people because normally, like, people are in the chat saying what they're working on. But for the ones that are here, if you're a writer or even if you're just working on some other type of project and you want to dedicate time to whatever you are working on, this is the space to do it. The reason why I started at doing this again at 5 a.m. because that's kind of 5 a.m. Pacific time, California time, and I started doing it because that's really like my magical hour to get things done before, life gets away from me, work and, people have commitments like family and so forth. But this is a time where it's quiet. There's hardly any traffic outside and I could just zone in and get my work done. So let me know what you guys are working on. Drop it in the chat. And I see my clock is about to be up for the 5 minute break, and I'm gonna get back into it for 25 more minutes. And in this space, I do two 25-minute sprints of writing, or in my case, researching. But the other people would normally come on board. They are writing or working on whatever project that they are working on. And I'm doing this Monday through Friday. I had been doing a 30-day challenge, which went well. And so I'm very proud that we did it consistently for 30 days in a row. But now I'm doing Monday through Friday, 5 a.m. And for, two 25-minute sprints and a 5 to 10 minute break in between. So I'm going to get back into it. I'm in the Dr. Hunt's testimony. He's a surgeon. but he's also one of the people that are going around threatening the Black people to get off the road. So very, very interesting. So thank you for being here. Hey, Shanae. I'm jumping in. Researching for a historical project to circle ancient Greece. Okay, awesome. Great. Mhm. And Andrew on. All right, how's it going? So, Shanae, I'm in Dr. Hunt's testimony, and he was one of the guys that was with Dr. Shannon, and I think it was Horace Miller was one of the other ones that were going around telling the black people to get off the road or they were going to get killed. And so, apparently, according to Dr. Hunt, Colonel Owen, who was one of the leaders of the Colored People's Troop, and that he came across him and said that 700 troops were coming in, or 700 men were coming in, and so that is also a different account. So now I really want to go find Colonel um, Owen's testimony to see what he says about the whole thing, because the way Hunt describes it is very, that he was very combative, but vocally, not physically, in which we really haven't been seeing. We've been hearing a lot of different, right? Yeah. And so, and it's a far cry from what other Black people has testified about. So we knew that there were hundreds of troops or out there, but they were, from what they had been saying, it had been like white troops out there. So I got to get down to the bottom of who is telling the truth, or how, again, I had read the summary of everything, and we all, by we having read the summary before, we know that Peter Crosby was found innocent of everything, and that he didn't start everything up, because they were all trying to lean it toward that he was the cause of the massacre. So there's a lot of different tales happening, and it's going to be really interesting laying out this timeline, because as I'm listening, not listening, reading through Dr. Hunt's testimony, and then I remember reading Andrew Owen's testimony. and then how Ben Allen is another person that came across during this particular section of time. So, I got to, how we do in reality TV, I got to bring out my whiteboard and just start mapping it out. and, just laying out the whole timeline of who, popped in where, who did what, and where and when. Um, it's getting really, it's already a lot of material, but just really trying to keep everyone's story straight and whose perception, is correct, and then also how I'm going to lay that out into the actual story in of itself. Uh, so yeah, it's interesting, and I love doing this. I love going through the research and figuring it all out, and but yeah, now it's really getting uh, a bit complicated. So, to say the least. But I'm so happy you're here with me today. I'm going to wrap it up now, but I'll be back tomorrow, 5 a.m. And so happy that the internet is back up. Yay. And yeah, we just keep doing this. So, oh, one other thing, I'm going back to Pilgrim. I'll text you about that. I will, yeah, I'll text you about that. So, our old stomping ground. So, have a wonderful, wonderful day.